A two-headed alien from Tibet and a salt man from Iran will make you change your mind about the ancient world. The magical properties of jade and mysterious alien bodies found all over the world. Doesn't this surprise you? Where did ancient people get technologies that are inaccessible to us now? Mystical finds of archaeologists in caves and something else. Watch this video to the end. Hi friend, you're on the KirTop channel. Two-headed alien. A strange mummy with two heads was discovered in Tibet, which was immediately dubbed the two-headed alien. This artifact shocked scientists and fans of mysticism. The mummy looks as if its origins go beyond the earthly, which gives rise to many theories, from mutations to extraterrestrial civilizations. Some researchers believe that this could be a ritual artifact or a cult image created by ancient people to worship unknown forces. Interestingly, the structure of the mummy looks unusual even for mutations known to biology. The proportions of its body and the shape of its head suggest that it could be the embodiment of something mythical or unearthly. Ancient Tibetan legends often mention heavenly beings who visited Earth. Perhaps this artifact is an attempt to depict those whom the ancients considered gods. However, there is also a more mundane version. The mummy may be the result of artificial mummification of two different bodies connected for ritual purposes. Alien skulls. A few years ago, American and European media were filled with sensational stories about the discovery of alien skulls in a cave in Russia. These strange skulls, resembling something clearly non-human, caused a lot of controversy. Many assumed that they could belong to aliens or creatures unknown to science. However, journalists soon declared that the whole story was a hoax and it quickly disappeared from the headlines. These skulls could have been part of an ancient ritual or simply the altered remains of animals whose bones had acquired unusual shapes. But it is interesting to imagine what it must have felt like to discover them for the first time in a dark, cold cave. It is one thing to see them in a photograph, and quite another to hold this mysterious artifact in your hands, causing a feeling of both fear and curiosity. Even though this discovery turned out to be a hoax, it remains an interesting reminder of how myths and facts can intertwine to create amazing stories. The mystery of a 3,000-year-old mummy has been solved. Scientists have managed to solve the mystery of the mummy of the Egyptian woman Snot, who was sealed in cartonnage without visible seams. Using CT scanning, researchers finally understood how she was embalmed about 3,000 years ago. Snot lived during the Third Intermediate Period during the reign of the 22nd Dynasty. At the time of her death, she was about 40 years old, and the careful preparation of her body for the afterlife indicates her high social status. For many years, scientists could not explain how the remains ended up inside the cartonnage, finding only a small hole near the feet. However, scanning revealed a seam along the back and lacing, which provided a clue. The embalmers softened the cartonnage so that it became flexible, made a cut in the back, and placed the body inside. Then the seam was sewn up and a wooden panel near the feet was used for fixation. The internal organs were removed and replaced with wax figures of the sons of Horus, Amset, Hapi, Duamutef, and Kebe-Senuf. Each of them protected a certain organ. It also turned out that Snot had lost several teeth, and the remaining ones were badly worn down, which may be due to the sand in her food. The Egyptian's eyes were replaced with artificial ones, and her body was wrapped in expensive linen. Her brightly decorated sarcophagus emphasizes her privileged position. The ancient Egyptians prepared for the afterlife, just as we prepare for retirement. They saved up money to provide for themselves in the world of the dead. Bas-reliefs of Nuku Hiva. On the island of Nuku Hiva, part of the Marquesas Islands archipelago in French Polynesia, archaeologists are amazed by mysterious statues. The bas-reliefs and sculptures depict strange creatures reminiscent of gray aliens. Their bodies are human and their heads are like reptiles, with huge round eyes and low-set mouths. Who created these statues and why is unknown. The modern natives of the island know nothing about the origin of the sculptures and believe that they depict the ancient god Ono, who, according to their beliefs, created the world. When Europeans discovered the island in the 16th century, it was inhabited by savage gatherers famous for their cannibalism. However, the connection between the current inhabitants and those who created the mysterious statues has been lost. Archaeologists assume that these sculptures are at least 150,000 years old. Some believe that they depict priests in ritual masks, but these masks look too unusual to be simply part of Earth culture. Conspiracy theorists are convinced that Nuku Hiva was once home to an alien colony. They believe that the statues depict human-alien hybrids and that the sculptures themselves are the result of ancient experiments. Salt Man of Iran. This amazing find was discovered in the mid-1990s in the salt mines near Shahriabad in the mountains of Iran. Archaeologists believe that these are the remains of an ancient salt mine worker who died right at his workplace about 1,500 years ago. The unique conditions of the cave, saturated with salt vapors, helped to preserve his body in an amazing condition. The mummy even has preserved his hair, which, under the influence of salt, acquired a whitish tint, as well as a beard, which adds an even more creepy look to the find. Scientists believe that the high concentration of salt in the cave prevented the decomposition process, mummifying the body naturally. The salted body looks as if time has stopped, allowing us to look at the face of the past. The Salt Man became not only an archaeological sensation, but also an important source of information about the lives of people of that era. Today, this mummy is a reminder of the harsh reality of the past and the unique interaction of man with nature. Indonesian Star Trek. In 1992, geologist Castillo made a discovery that still shocks today. In the province of Kapanga, Indonesia, he was exploring the Satan's Cave in the mountains and found an unusual stone. On its chip were engraved mysterious symbols that resembled a map of the Star Trek. The signs on the stone are strikingly similar to the images on the plaques sent into space by NASA with the Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 probes in the 1970s. The stone depicts a man and a woman holding hands, as well as the sun, stars, and lines resembling routes. Geologists claim that the age of the stone's processing is hundreds of thousands of years. This casts doubt on its terrestrial origin because at that time people, as is assumed, could not have had such knowledge. Conspiracy theorists suggest that aliens received a message from the Pioneer probe but miscalculated and missed the time, ending up on Earth hundreds of thousands of years ago. Perhaps they got stuck here and left their mark in the form of this stone. Another version says that the stone could have been created by a highly developed civilization that existed in Indonesia long before our era. The map depicts a star system with 1 star and 7 planets, an almost exact reproduction of the solar system. Modern scientists recognize 8 planets, but until recently, Neptune was considered an asteroid. Whoever the creators of the mysterious stone were, their knowledge of the stars remains a mystery, astonishing modern science. Teddy Bear Soldier. In 1908, a Birmingham boy received a teddy bear as a Christmas present, which he named Captain Bruini. However, the bear's fate changed in 1915 when the boy's father was called up for war. To soften the pain of parting, the boy dressed his friend in a military uniform made from scrap materials. The bear received a unique outfit: stylish baggy trousers, a U-saber, a pistol, and even a driving license signed by the boy's father. A postcard with the bear's history, written by its owner, says that Bruini served on Salisbury Plain and quickly achieved the rank of general thanks to questionable maneuvers. His motorcycle with a sidecar had wheels made from tin lids, and the boy and his cousins sewed the clothes. The bear's story is unique in that he retained his military appearance. Antique teddy bear expert Daniel Agnew said most of the toys were stripped of their shape after the war because it was a reminder of hard times. The bear's owner remains a mystery, but there are clues, including a signature on a driving license, that could be bullright. Captain Bruini is up for auction in Newbury, Berkshire, where it is expected to fetch £1,200. Sinister Secrets of Egypt. Dr. Sperl, a deputy head of the German expedition in Egypt, told about his discovery, which is several decades old. Together with American colleagues, he found a mysterious black temple of the solar scarab in Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. The temple was built of black basalt blocks without windows, and the roof stood without supports. The entrance was covered with sand, which workers cleared in a few days. Inside was a second stone box almost touching the roof. Without doors and holes, it looked like a mysterious trap. Workers tried to disassemble it for 2 days, but even a crowbar left no traces on the solid basalt. Soon, the workers discovered a lid with an image of a scarab, decorated with gold and blue paint, resistant to time. The lid concealed a manhole leading to an underground room where there was a huge metal sculpture of a beetle with a crystal head. This bug looked more like a technological device than a religious artifact. The attempt to study the artifact ended unexpectedly. An English officer returned with a detachment of soldiers and an order from the governor to leave the excavations. The American expedition was kicked out and the temple was closed. A few years later, Shperley learned that a British airbase had appeared on the site of the temple. The strange metal sculpture, reminiscent of a machine, remained a mystery forever. Shperley never returned to this topic as his knowledge was soon needed by the Third Reich. The history of the Black Temple of the Solar Scarab remained one of the most mysterious pages in archaeology. The Cave Devil. This sinister face, known as the Cave Devil, stares out at visitors from the wall of one of the famous Devil's Caves in West Wickham, southeast Britain. The caves were hand-carved in the 18th century, and their history is closely linked to the Hellfire Club, a society founded by the eccentric aristocrat Sir Francis Dashwood. The club included members of the elite of the time who gathered here to perform mysterious rituals and, according to rumors, even black masses. After Dashwood's death, the club ceased to exist and the caves were abandoned. However, since the mid-20th century, they have been turned into a tourist attraction, attracting the curious and adventure seekers. Among the twisting passages and dark halls, tourists often encounter this carved image suddenly emerging from the cave's darkness, which often causes them real horror. While the true purpose of this devilish mask remains unknown, it fuels legends about the dark secrets of the Hellfire Club. The Four-Eyed Figurine. This mysterious figurine, known as the Four-Eyed, was found in what is now Serbia. The age of the artifact is estimated at over 7,000 years, making it one of the oldest finds associated with the pre-literate culture of the Balkans. The figurine depicts a humanoid with 4 eyes, or perhaps elements resembling a mask. There is a hypothesis that these 4 eyes are actually part of a mask or headdress, and the figurine itself could depict not a real creature, but a mythical or divine creature revered in the society of that time. There is even a bold suggestion that it could be something resembling a spacesuit, hinting at contact with something extraterrestrial. Although this, of course, remains in the realm of fantasy. Little is known about the purpose of the figurine. Perhaps it was used in rituals or was a symbol of a protector or patron. This artifact leaves more questions than answers and continues to stir debate among archaeologists and mystery lovers. The Four-Eyed One is one of those rare artifacts that not only reveals fragments of the past to us, but also excites our imagination. Witch marks. On the eve of Halloween, representatives of the English State Commission on Historical Monuments made a curious statement. Dozens of mysterious symbols were discovered in one of the best-preserved medieval estates in England, Gainsborough Old Hall. They are called witch marks, although they are associated with witches only in folklore. Gainsborough Old Hall, built in 1460 by Sir Thomas Burgh, is located in the east of England. This impressive estate, not inferior to royal residences, served as a home for the rich and influential Burgh family. They often had to defend their lands from neighbors, and at various times Henry VIII himself visited here. In 1542, he visited the estate with his 5th wife, Catherine Howard, who was soon accused of treason and executed. Perhaps this place also played a role in the fate of Catherine Parr, his 6th and last wife. The building has retained many elements of its medieval appearance, the main hall with a unique roof, the kitchen, and the tower. However, the researchers were attracted by the mysterious signs on the walls. It took 2 years to study them, and interesting facts were revealed. Most of the symbols are in the servants' wing, but some are in the main hall. Among them, the pentagram associated with the imposition of curses and the inverted name Hickman, the owner of the estate since the 16th century, stand out. In Anglo-Saxon and Roman times, it was common practice to change names in spells, but for the Middle Ages, this find is unique. However, most of the symbols are so-called witch marks. These are circles with patterns that were supposed to scare away demons and protect the house from evil forces. Despite the name, their main purpose is a talisman. The signs, for example, could symbolize traps for evil or be used in rituals of sympathetic magic. Often the owners of the buildings also burned the walls to protect the house from fires. More than 100 such traces were found at Gainsborough Old Hall. Sabu's disc. This is one of the most mysterious artifacts of ancient Egypt found in the tomb of Sabu, a descendant of Pharaoh Ajib. It is at least 5,000 years old, but its true purpose remains a mystery. At first glance, it is a stone disc with 3 curved petals, but the details make one wonder. The thickness in some places reaches only 1.5 millimeters, which indicates incredible precision of manufacture. Given the level of technology of that time, many wonder, how was this possible? Scientists hypothesize that the disc could have been part of a ritual or a decorative element, but there are other theories that go beyond the usual. Some researchers believe that the Sabu disc could have been a copy of a device left by guests from the sky, a highly developed civilization that visited Earth in ancient times. The structure and shape of the artifact resemble modern aerodynamic devices or even elements of complex mechanisms. The Egyptians may have considered this object sacred and tried to reproduce something they saw but did not understand. Some believe that the Sabu disc is the key to unraveling the interaction of ancient civilizations with extraterrestrial intelligence. For now, these are just guesses, but the mystical aura surrounding this artifact continues to excite minds and invites us to delve into the secrets of the past. Ghosts of Mammoth Cave. Mammoth Cave in Kentucky is not only one of the largest underground systems in the world with passages about 500 kilometers long, but also a place shrouded in legends. Initially used for saltpeter mining, the cave later turned into a tourist attraction. Underground lakes, giant halls, and echoes resounding in the labyrinths attracted curious people from all corners. However, the cave gained its real fame thanks to stories about ghosts. There are rumors among visitors and workers that in the cave you can meet the souls of the dead workers who once toiled in its depths. Tourists often report strange shadows, unclear silhouettes, or inexplicable voices coming from the darkness. There were cases when entire groups claimed to have seen ghostly figures that seemed to be watching them from afar. Legends claim that these are the spirits of miners who died in accidents. These stories add even more mystery to the cave and attract not only nature lovers, but also seekers of the supernatural. Mammoth Cave remains a place where mysticism and history intertwine, creating a special atmosphere. Indian airplanes. Amazing artifacts known as Indian airplanes have been found in Mexico and South America. These miniature gold figures, dating back hundreds, perhaps thousands of years, are striking in their detail. At first glance, they are toys, but their shape is too reminiscent of modern aircraft such as space shuttles or airplanes. Scientists were especially drawn to the tail rudders, symmetrical notches on the wings, and other elements that would have no practical use in a toy. The question arises, what was the basis for creating these figures? The only plausible explanation is that the craftsmen copied what they saw. Perhaps these artifacts are a reflection of real events when the inhabitants of ancient America observed the flights of mysterious devices. Some researchers associate these finds with theories about ancient astronauts, claiming that aliens, the Anunnaki or representatives of another civilization, visited Earth and left their traces. The mystery of these little planes is enhanced by another fact. Modern engineers have been able to create models based on these artifacts that, with the addition of an engine, are actually capable of flying. Is this a coincidence, an ancient myth, or evidence of technology that came from other planets? Work made English women witches. For a woman to be accused of witchcraft in the early modern period, she sometimes had to do nothing more than annoy her neighbors with her presence. However, there was an unexpected factor that significantly increased the chances of British women being accused of witchcraft. Accusations of magic began to spread across Europe as early as the 13th century during the fight against heretics. By the Renaissance, the practice had evolved into a mass witch hunt, which peaked in the 16th and 17th centuries. Although men were also suspected of witchcraft, women were the victims of accusations in the vast majority of cases. Only 10 to 30% of suspects were men. Historians attribute this to misogyny and the socioeconomic problems of the time. But research by Dr. Philippa Carter of Cambridge University adds another reason. Carter studied the handwritten journals of Richard Napier, a physician and astrologer who lived in the 16th and 17th centuries. Napier, a parish priest, was known not for his sermons but as a doctor of the soul and body. His records include 1714 cases in which patients complained that they had been cursed. Often the names of alleged witches appeared in such stories, and the vast majority of accusations concerned women. Carter found that working women were much more likely to be accused. This can be explained by the professions that English women held at the time: nursing the sick and children, cooking, dairy production, and tending to livestock. If a patient did not recover, cheese spoiled, or a calf died, an accusation of witchcraft was good to go. The work of a midwife was considered especially dangerous. High infant mortality often provoked accusations of curses. Male artisans, even if their work went poorly, were more likely to face criticism for poor craftsmanship than accusations of magic. Napier's notes provide no information on how such accusations ended. Perhaps some suspicions remained mere words, and the accusers vented their emotions by turning to an astrologer. Thus, in the Middle Ages, a working woman was much more likely to become a witch than an ordinary housewife. Snot of the Earth. In one of the poisoned caves near the Mexican city of Tabasco, researcher Diana Northup came across a strange substance, which immediately received the unofficial name snot, or snot of the earth. These thick, stretchy drops of a whitish substance hang from the vaults of the cave like fantastic stalactites. At first glance, they resemble something from a horror movie, but this is an absolutely real phenomenon. Snot is still poorly studied. Scientists assume that it consists of mineral and biological components, possibly associated with the activity of bacteria living in the extreme conditions of the cave. Despite the fact that the substance, according to preliminary data, is not dangerous to humans, the mere thought that such a thick drop can suddenly fall on your forehead can make anyone think about the delights of underground exploration. Caves have long been considered one of the most extreme places on the planet where unique forms of life thrive. The study of snot could shed light on microbial ecosystems and their role in the formation of such substances.
Hongshan artifacts. The Hongshan civilization is one of the most mysterious cultures of ancient China, which existed about 6,000–7,000 years ago. It left behind unusual jade artifacts that depict humanoids with teardrop-shaped heads and huge eyes. Some of the figurines resemble creatures riding water scooters or even flying machines. These images do not fit into the usual ideas about ancient cultures and make you wonder, who or what were the Hongshan masters trying to capture? The unique Hongshan caves discovered in 1999 also belong to this culture. These man-made caves amaze with their size and complexity. Inside, you can see pools, bridges over rivers, stairs, and passages. The area of the largest cave is 12,600 square meters. But the real mystery is the traces left on the walls. They resemble modern tunneling machines, although technology of this level is not believed to have existed thousands of years ago. In addition, it remains unclear where the gigantic volumes of excavated rock disappeared to. Scientists have not yet found traces of its movement. Some researchers suggest that the caves and jade artifacts are evidence of contact with a more advanced civilization, possibly of extraterrestrial origin. Corpses in the Cave of Death. A cave located in a remote area of the Scottish Highlands has an ominous name, the Cave of Death, and this name is completely justified. Archaeologists who discovered it were shocked by the finds inside: the remains of decapitated bodies, children's heads on stakes, and traces of blood. Fortunately, according to experts, the age of these terrible artifacts exceeds 1,000 years. Researchers suggest that the cave was used for sacred rituals during which human sacrifices were made. Perhaps this place was part of an ancient cult associated with the worship of gods or spirits of nature. Rituals involving bloody sacrifices were common in some ancient cultures, and the cave itself could have served as a kind of sanctuary for these purposes. The walls of the cave, dotted with ancient traces and remains of organic matter, allow us to reconstruct the grim scenes that took place here many centuries ago. Despite the horrific nature of the finds, they give scientists a better understanding of ancient rituals and beliefs, recalling the dark pages of human history. Used as a seat. An unexpected archaeological discovery has been made in Turkey. A stone that had been used as a seat for decades near a mosque in the city of Fatsa turned out to be a Roman artifact that is almost 1,800 years old. This monument from the Roman Empire dates back to 239 AD and is a miliaria, a stone that marked distances on the roads of the empire. Roman miliaria played an important role in the transport system that covered the whole of Anatolia. Installed every Roman mile, approximately 1.5 kilometers, they indicated the distances to the nearest cities and sometimes contained the names of emperors or officials responsible for the construction of the roads. The discovered stone from Fatsa was dedicated to Emperor Gordian III and was installed to mark the reconstructed section of the port road connecting the districts of Bolaman and Yalikoi. The unusual use of the stone became known thanks to literature teacher Aydin Bal, who drew attention to the unusual artifact near the Laleli Mosque. The study was carried out by local experts. The inscription on the stone, translated by epigraphist Hussein Sami Ozturk, confirmed its Roman origin. The miliarium was originally located along a Roman road but was moved in the 1970s during the construction of a mosque. The artifact has now been sent to the Ordu Museum for further study. The bodies of extraterrestrial beings. Theories about the appearance of aliens vary. Some believe that they are similar to humans, but with differences, a different skin color or elements of the genome that resemble reptiles or plants. Such images are often found in literature and cinema. For example, in the movies about the Guardians of the Galaxy, aliens are depicted as furry or tree-like humanoids. The raccoon rocket and the bark-covered Groot became the embodiment of this idea. Other researchers and writers believe that it is pointless to build ideas about alien life based on earthly evolution. Polish writer Stanislaw Lem, in his novel Solaris, created a different approach. His alien intelligence is presented as an ocean capable of interacting with people through their memories, providing a chance to correct the past. This became a philosophical response to anthropocentrism in the depiction of aliens. There are also more sinister versions. Some believe that alien life forms may be parasites that use the human body as a habitat. A similar image was embodied in the film Venom, where an extraterrestrial symbiote used a human as a host. Not long ago, Mexican ufologist Jaime Maussan presented remains that, according to him, belong to ancient aliens. These humanoid-like creatures have three-fingered limbs, missing teeth, and unusual physical features. When X-rayed, rare metals such as cadmium and osmium, which are used today in satellite systems, were found in their bodies. An egg-like formation was found in one of the mummies, which further provoked mystery lovers. However, scientists are skeptical of these claims. Earlier in 2017, Moissan already presented findings that turned out to be the remains of ancient children, not aliens. To confirm or refute the truth of the new claims, serious research will be needed. Until then, this discovery remains a subject of debate between ufologists and the scientific community. Chinese emperors stole. Chinese emperors believed that jade could grant immortality, so they bequeathed that they be buried in special suits made of jade plates fastened with gold threads. Ancient chronicles mention such burials, but for centuries, no one found any evidence of their existence. Many believed that it was just a myth. Everything changed in 1958 when soldiers blasting a rock to build a bomb shelter near Mount Lingshan accidentally discovered an intact 2,000-year-old tomb of Liu Sheng, ruler of the Western Han Dynasty, and his wife, Du Wan. These tombs turned out to be real underground palaces filled with tens of thousands of relics, weapons, vessels, and even jade incense burners. The most amazing discovery was 2 burial suits made of jade preserved in perfect condition. Liu Sheng's costume consisted of 2498 jade plates connected with 1,100 grams of gold thread, and his wife had 2160 plates and 700 grams of thread. These outfits completely repeated the outlines of the bodies, including face masks. The tradition of such costumes was explained not only by the symbolic but also magical role of jade. In ancient China, jade was considered the embodiment of purity and durability. It was revered as a sacred material. According to beliefs, it could protect the body from decomposition. Particular importance was attached to the 9 openings of the body: eyes, ears, nostrils, mouth, genitals, anus, which were closed with jade plugs to ensure immortality. However, discoveries showed that the theory was not justified. Jade suits did not protect the bodies from decomposition. Why are such finds so rare? The answer is simple: looting. Even before the advent of archaeology, jade was incredibly valuable. Tomb robbers hunted for it for centuries. Tombs were burned, suits were dismantled, and jade slabs were sold or melted down. Over time, the looting became so widespread that in 222, Emperor Wen of Wei issued an edict banning the use of jade suits. He put an end to a 400-year-old tradition, acknowledging that immortality in this form was impossible. Although the idea seems grand, the end of the tradition was both tragic and ironic. Emperor Wen was determined enough to stop this vicious cycle. And perhaps it is thanks to this ban that we were able to see authentic jade suits centuries later. Write in the comments which of these discoveries shocked you the most. I will read each comment and take it into account in future videos. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Bye everyone.